What you're up against here, Rob, is a blow up of a legacy that only happens a couple of times in our lives. Most of the time, the legacy prevails. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it is just so darn hard, Rob, for people to get their arms around why this stock could go up substantially from these levels.
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in this video, we're watching a few clips from the best interview I have ever seen with Jim Cramer. In fact, before you even watch this video, press pause and go watch the original. There's a link in the description. Rob Maurer interviewed Jim Cramer for Tesla Daily / The Street. Best interview I've ever seen with Jim. I'm not joking. Pause this video, go watch and come back. All right, welcome back. You did watch the video, right? You're not lying to me? All right, good. Let's see what they had to say. I'll add a few comments where I think it's relevant. Let's dive in. Holy crap, I think the sun's going supernova. Hey guys, if you're in the US and you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account and fund it with $100, you get 2 free stocks, one of them valued up to $1,400. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake using the link in the description. Let's get back to it.
Rob, what I've been trying to do ever since I had my religious conversion on Tesla is to say, ignore everything. Elon Musk has the best device that takes you from point A to point B, and it's just getting better and better in each iteration.
This is a brilliant point from Jim. One of the huge mistakes that most people who've been looking at Tesla as a potential investment have made is not focusing on the fact that they have the world's best, not even close, the world's best by miles electric vehicle. Not only electric vehicle. In fact, it's not even a vehicle, it's something else, a computer on wheels. Most people instead looking at Tesla like, oh my God, profitability, oh my God, Elon Musk different, I'm scared, daddy, please hold me. All this kind of stuff. Like, fuck all the noise. The product is the best thing that's available. Period. That's why they're selling, that's why they don't need to advertise. Simple point from Jim, but really important. Far too many people failing to see the forest for the trees.
The Cybertruck now, Tesla hasn't released the reservation data, but from sort of, people piecing things together online, the speculation right now is that Tesla's got about 1 million reservations for the Cybertruck already. Elon has said that it's been sort of the most successful product that they've unveiled so far, which is saying something because the Model 3 had, 400,000 reservations.
That look really says it all. This is a great opportunity to point out some of the informational advantages that Tesla retail investors have because they just look. There's a publicly available Cybertruck reservation tracker spreadsheet on Google Sheets that people who've made reservations have been putting data in, people who've reverse engineered reservation numbers, all this kind of stuff. These are the data points that a lot of the Wall Street analysts are literally oblivious to. They literally don't even know this is available. Important indicators for demand for Cybertruck, Wall Street.
I'm not exactly sure what the F-150 starts at nowadays, but I think it's like 35,000 plus just for the very opening price point, even higher than that.
Higher. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Cybertruck's going to start with a 250 plus mile range at $40,000. So when you factor in the electricity versus gasoline fuel savings.
Once again, Jim's face says it all.
The one thing you would never think about doing, and remember, Moderna's Northern Italy, might as well be Southern Germany. The one thing you would never think about doing is going up against the Bavarian Motor Works, going up against Mercedes, going to the heart of European cars, Germany, and thinking you could be successful. And yet Elon seems to challenge it as if it's child's play.
Yeah, I mean, and they've proven, Tesla has proven to be very successful in that. The Model 3 has taken the 3 Series market share, predominantly the midsize luxury sedan market leader before. And Tesla came in with the Model 3, and just in a couple of years, they've completely taken over that market with greater than 50% share. So outselling sort of the Mercedes C-Class, the BMW 3 Series, Audi A4/S4, all those combined in the United States, Tesla has outsold with the Model 3.
Not to labor the point too much, but this should have been a really early indicator to those who are actually interested in Tesla stock, either as a long or a short, or just to stay the hell away from, to understand how dominant Tesla was going to be. Ding, ding, ding. Tesla, starting here, constantly driving prices down, constantly increasing performance and value, and eating the lunch of BMW, Mercedes, and Audi at this price point, knowing that the price is going to continue to be driven down and the value is going to continue to be driven up. And I mean, honestly, you really do need to be a dingbat not to be able to figure this one out. Of course, plenty of people just took a cursory glance at Tesla and never actually looked at the information that mattered, so they missed this. They weren't even looking. They didn't look deep enough. They were too dismissive.
I think that unless you're someone who is deeply within the Tesla weeds like you are, you end up being one of these people who just says, hey, listen, it's never made a problem. Listen, it's done with government subsidies. Listen, it's all because of this showman who's really a shaman. And it's all because of a guy who's not even focused. He cares more about SpaceX. So what you're up against here, Rob, is a blow up of a legacy that only happens a couple of times in our lives. Most of the time, the legacy prevails. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it is just so darn hard, Rob, for people to get their arms around why this stock could go up substantially from these levels. And I think that what we're talking about is a recognition that people don't seem to understand. The bears who are watching us are saying, oh, we two guys who love Tesla. One guy made a real study of Tesla. The other guy like hops into a Tesla, looks at the balance sheet, was buying. No, I mean, we're talking about a revolution. And you understand the revolution from the inside, and I see the revolution by analogy. But we both get there at the same time, and well, you were ahead of me, but we get there, we get it at the place that makes it so it's kind of an unassailable, no, I'm not hopping off it, I'm going to let it play out situation. And what you're saying basically is, listen, they can blow up the whole industry, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Tesla's goal is really to grow at 50% compound annually per year for the next decade. And I don't see any reason that they can't do that. Maybe that makes me sort of blindly bullish, but I think when you look at the value proposition and you look at the competition out there, there's just a very clear path there. And, if you do the math on Tesla selling 20 million vehicles per year, you get to a pretty undervalued situation right now, even at the, $350 billion level.
Rob, dude, you are absolutely slaying it. Great questions, great comments, great insight, great interview. Watching this interview, I kind of get the impression that Jim has a pretty general good understanding now of what's possible for Tesla, but just has a lot of gaps in terms of the detail. Didn't seem like he knew that Tesla's aiming to grow revenue by 50% per annum for at least the next decade. Little points like this. Just imagine what happens when Jim Cramer has these new insights and understanding of what Tesla's aiming for, in addition to his general understanding of the disruptions that's happening. I mean, the guy's talking about whether Tesla is going to blow up the whole automotive industry. I mean, they are. I've been saying this on the channel now for 9 months. All the legacy automakers are basically fucked. They're most likely going bankrupt, going to be acquired or merge this decade. If you look far enough, it is already obvious. They have to turn around a huge ship. They have to spend tens of billions of dollars just trying to get caught up to where Tesla was about 10 years ago. So what are you going to do? Here's what they're going to do. They're going to go bankrupt. They're going to spin off new startups and use those startups in EVs to put themselves out of business, or they're going to license powertrain and software from Tesla and say, guys, look, can you just give us the goods and we'll just make it look nice on the outside? Thanks so much.
Well, I think that there are a lot of people who felt that when Ron Barron would come on Squawk Box and when the stock was at 200 and say it would go at some wild price, they would say, well, let's say he was saying it was going to go to 1,200 and it was at 200. People said, okay, that's just blatant manipulation. The guy is naming some price in order to get it to pop. But you would have to think that with that, if he was really doing that, if he was pumping, he would be dumping, but he wasn't. So that was argument one, that people were pumping so they could dump. That has been refuted time and again. The second argument is the numbers themselves and whether they are made up. And people were always looking at the cars on the lot, or they were saying that, we mentioned this $100 price that $100 deposit you have to put down, that it's all like, since you can take it back, it doesn't mean anything. So that's manipulation. Then they used to talk about how the manipulation was with the electronic vehicle. And if you backed out the cert, if you didn't have the federal 1,500, then the numbers would fall apart. And then the manipulation was that there really is no cash on the balance sheet. I mean, endlessly they came up with it. And there were two people who were sending me manipulation stories every single day. And I have to tell you, both of them were unbelievable investors. And I wasn't getting them. But you know what? As the stock climbed, if you kept an open mind and you kept listening, you realized that one by one, check, the manipulation claims were wrong. Now, just the other day, I said some very positive things about Tesla. And a short seller came to me and said, Jim, I've lost all credibility. Now, people feel I've lost all credibility because I came in at 260, and people think I've lost all credibility because I like it at 1,800. I mean, so if both sides hate me, I know I'm right. But now the battle is basically by the shorts saying that guys like me are playing this thing of being added to the S&P, and that once it gets out of the S&P, there'll be the squeeze of a lifetime, and then it's all over. And what's incredible to me is I would much rather have them say, listen, on a macro environment, maybe no one's going to start buying cars because things are so bad because of COVID. Or maybe if the Fed turns off the liquidity that it's pumping in the economy, and therefore maybe people can't buy cars because they don't have debt, loans down. Those are valid arguments. And that's why when we talked about the value proposition of the truck versus the F-150, or we talk about how a battery and how it can be charged might save versus oil, those are the arguments that must be made, because I actually think that with the unemployment situation, you typically sell the stocks of cars. When you see this many people unemployed in this country, you should not own a car stock. And by the way, how right is that? Ford's at $6. So what people have to recognize is you have to continue to have a decent macro environment when it comes to automobiles in terms of liquidity, if they want to borrow money. And you can't have a step down. If we have a fall of COVID where it comes back hard and we have to close the economy up, then I think that you would have to take some profits in Tesla, because nothing can last forever. But I'm betting that won't be the case. But that's the real worry. The real worry to me is nobody can afford to buy a car, so nobody buys a car. And believe me, that's a worry that they got at the Lamborghini factory. It's a worry that they have at Ford. And I think that even Tesla can avoid the gravitational pull of the depression. But short of that, Rob, I think that what's happened is you could have some periods where it goes down, but those are periods where you got to buy, because it'll be going down mostly because of stories you hear, like what happened this morning in my Twitter feed. There's a video of a car going off the road, and then it be looking like it's incinerated. And it's someone who says, this is a Tesla. This is an honest video of something that happened last night in China. And of course, the China case is important for Tesla's valuation. And immediately, a dozen people said, wait a second, that's a Mercedes. It's not a Tesla. So the manipulation's still out there. There are people who need the stock lower, Rob. But the more they gin up things like a video that looks like it's made up, the more likely it is that they will have to cover at a higher price. So unless you told me that there's no demand in China because of COVID, that the Berlin experience is bad because of COVID, and United States because of a depression from COVID, I think it's just a very good technology stock, not unlike NVIDIA, not unlike Microsoft, not unlike Google, not unlike Amazon. It's in that pantheon. And those who think it should be in that pantheon, I think, are people who think that it's a side-by-side comparison versus a Jeep, which are cool. The Jeeps are cool. I mean, I've seen people ride Jeeps around the beach. They look great. But they're cars. These aren't cars. I mean, the Jeep has real appeal. It's a nice looking thing. But I don't think that what's under the hood with the Jeep is as good as what's under the hood with the Tesla.
Jim is really getting it. There's Tesla and there's everyone else. They are not the same things. And just on the point of the bears and the shorts changing their tune or being blind to what's going on, one analogy I might say is this: the closer you look, the more you investigate Tesla, not with the blinkers on, right? But you actually open-mindedly look at what's happening, not what you expect or think or suspect or what should be, what's actually going on. What you will find is the tide of your excuses and reasons why Tesla should, could, or will fail will recede further into the distance until it's gone completely. The problem is, a lot of bears and shorts are blinded. They're so caught up in their own ideas and thinking and arrogance and ego, they literally cannot see what's going on. Being short Tesla right now, I understand if it's a hedge fund hedging their long position, but outside of that, something's got to be wrong. You either didn't use this enough or it just doesn't work. I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just stating the way that I see things.
The other thing I would add too about the technology point, this is sort of my favorite one to rebut anyone that, claims that Tesla's just an automaker. Show me the other automakers that are selling an $8,000 software option. Tesla does that with, maybe a 25% take rate or so. So averaged across the fleet, that's $200,000 or $2,000 additional in pure software margin that Tesla's getting on average per vehicle sold. So until I see another competitor that's able to capture that sort of revenue from software, then obviously Tesla's going to, trade at a premium to those companies. So I think anyone that is not willing to acknowledge that or appreciate the impact that that can have on the business, especially as Tesla scales, needs to probably take a second look at that specific, option.
Brilliant closing point there from Rob. I'm going to leave it here. I hope you guys have found this video insightful. Please go watch the full interview. You'll learn a lot. This conversation with Jim Cramer, the discussion, the insight, the understanding, the new knowledge and awareness of what Tesla are doing, this process is now going to be replicated, okay? Jim is extremely influential. He has a huge platform. People listen to what Jim has to say. They call into his show asking for advice, tweet at him. Like, Jim is a real influencer in terms of the stock investing world. Maybe not to the kind of people that are crawling around YouTube really going down into the weeds, but for the broader audience out there, the kind of people who might invest in a company like Amazon, Facebook, maybe Apple, but not yet Tesla, they're going to be hearing more and more about this story as Jim goes deeper and deeper and refines his understanding further. The deeper you go, the better things look, and this matters. I'm Stephen and Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And of course, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull. If you're in the US, you can start a new account with WeBull using my link below. Deposit $100, you'll get 2 free stocks, one of them valued up to $1,400. And if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or the UK, you can get a free stock using the link in the description to stake. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.